Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm late. I'm not at home. I am here. Hi, DM. How are you? Cheers to the new year. Yes, I'm so happy. Hey, Candron. How are you? Awesome. So, I think, okay, you know how it's kind of glitchy? I'm not at home. I'm not in New York. So, hopefully, this Wi Fi and this Airbnb works well. How are all of you doing? Hi, Jonathan. So we are going to have a very hi Nizuko. We're going to have a very chill, impromptu end of year. This year is wild. Hey Tiffany, just drink wine and relax. We are going to wine and chill today. And I figured we could do an end of year ask me anything, sans legal questions. Y'all know how this works. And yeah, and then Chelsea, my friend, is here if she wants to pop in when she feels like it.
Hello.
Oh, speaking of the devil.
Hello.
Hi Chelsea. So yeah, how are y'all doing? I can't believe the year is over tomorrow. Isn't that crazy? Yes, I just started this live. And usually there's a PowerPoint, there's all these things. We're having none of that. We're having none of that because this year has been ridiculous. Thank you, Vincent, for the gift. I appreciate you. We're having a wild year. So this year started off on January 6th with a whole ass insurrection in the United States, which I'm not letting go. We have done a video on that. I think we'll do a year later video on it since January 6th is around the corner. Again, since people want to act like it didn't happen, which is awful. So yeah, so I figured today we will just do questions. So what do y'all want to talk about? Up to you. And yeah. What do you want to do, Chels? Oh, Jonathan said hi.
Oh, hi, Jonathan.
Chels will be the chill to the wine and chill because Chelsea doesn't drink. So yeah. I will be the wine. It was wild. To be honest, I was going to do a whole recap. Hey, Sam. I was going to do a whole recap of not all of them, of like pick a lawsuit that we've covered each month. But the way the year is ending and the way the burnout has fully set in, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to arrive to 2022 with a hello, I'm present. You know, I'm here, and that's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. I hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas too, or holiday, whichever holidays you celebrate. Awesome. Yeah, you got your wine. Awesome. So to dismiss first question, how did everyone feel about this year? I'm curious how y'all felt about this year. I feel like this year was so tiring. I feel like we started the year with, oh, maybe the Rona will go away. And then the insurrection happened and it was like, oh, we have other problems besides variants. Foolishness. And yeah, at this point, oh, get the Snoop Dogg. The Snoop Dogg wine is very good, which is something 19. 21 crimes. Yeah. I was like 19. That's 19 Rona. Crimes. That's Rona. That's the only number I know now is 19. LOL. But yeah. Also, this now that I have no PowerPoint, I'm like, wow, this is so much easier with a PowerPoint. I just pull up an old one and we just go through an old one. D. Smith, it was very tiring, a hot mess. It is. It has been a year of ups and downs. And I feel like if you made it to the end of the year, kudos to you. And that's it. I don't have earrings in. Like that's where we're at. I'm like, I'm here. I put my makeup on and Hi Paula, how are you? And yeah, do you all have any, I guess, like aspirations, intentions for 2022? I think I'm over the idea of setting goals and more so, yeah, I'm like, I don't know what year it is. So I feel like setting intentions is a little bit better. Like, okay, I'm going to do these things. I've crossed off my big one, which was leave my legal career. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year. But yes, to Mason Nwabe's point, I'm just glad we made it here. Me too. I'm very, very glad that we made it here. How has your year been, Charles?
Oh, it was, we made it through.
We're here. We're here. Listen, I'm sorry about your ankle, Bree. Happy for you changing jobs and surviving Wanderlust. That's amazing. I too have gone out of New York because Rona is ravaging the city. And, between Rona and the rats, I don't have the time. So,
the double R's.
I don't have the time. Yay, congrats, Rhonda. Going to start a podcast with my bestie in 2022. That's awesome. Speaking of podcasts, y'all should check out Chelsea's podcast called The Critics Kingdom. Chelsea works at TV and film. That's why I know her when I used to work back in the day in entertainment. It's a great podcast that reviews currently DCOMs, Disney
Channel original movies. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what's the com?
Yeah.
I was like, it's comedy. Oh, all right. Make it right. Shoot your shot, sir. I welcome the best. And, I will read it out loud so that way Chelsea can be even more red. Chelsea's a drink of her own.
Oh,
wow.
good God.
LOL, JK. Just added to the student loan payoff. Thank you. Thank you for helping with student loan payoff. Stay blessed. I appreciate y'all. Listen. Okay. I feel like I missed a question here.
Right here.
Oh, El Caldwell, did you do an exit interview with your old job? I did. I did an exit interview with my old job. So if you haven't watched it, first, I would like to say thank you for all of you that watched it and left me all of the overwhelmingly kind and honestly, I would say such a sense of community in the messages on the I Quit video. I have left my legal career. I'm so excited. I'm not practicing the law, but I'm still licensed. Yes, I passed on the first try. Like, don't do me. And the question is, did I do an exit interview with my old job? And yes, I highly recommend you do an exit interview with your job, even if you are angry with them, even if you're like, oh, they're not going to listen to me, nothing's going to change. Because it's cathartic. It is cathartic to say, you know what? I didn't appreciate XYZ. I don't care if you do that information. Let it out. But also, my exit interview, I would say, was overwhelmingly so much more positive than I thought it would be. So I said in that video how my boss was very kind about the entire me quitting. And my boss also encouraged me and was like, oh, I see this for you. Like, this is a waste of good people skills, you being a transactional attorney. So he agreed. But I also did an exit interview with HR, with our CPO. And I wasn't expecting that level of kindness. And so shout out to her. She was so kind. And it was a great heart to heart of, oh, okay, well, what resources can we help you with, Stephanie, in your career? So that was really nice. And honestly, I take my exit interviews as I'm always keeping 100. Keep it 1,000, a little too much. And it is what it is. And sometimes I think that is good in terms of telling people, hey, I'm doing my exit interview, not because I want to get it off my chest, but because I still have people that I care about that will work at this place. And I want you to do better for them. They deserve better. So I highly recommend do your exit interview. And sometimes, like I said in that video, sometimes you need to fuss somebody out. I was going to say cuss them out. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Chelsea knows. Chelsea remembers my first boss that I'm still mad at. Years later, half a decade later, I see that woman in the street. Anyways.
Oh my God.
But yes, thank you, Paula. Yes, don't forget to smash the like button
and subscribe.
That's what Graham Stephan said. Smash the like button.
Yes.
Thank you. Mason, what's an exit interview? So in the States, I think other places do too, but specifically in the States, when you leave a company, they will ask you to fill out a survey saying like why you left. And then they'll say, hey, we can do an exit interview with HR. And depending on your level in the company, depends on like who in HR will interview you. And the idea is they're supposed to take your feedback and implement it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I think at the base level though, it will make you feel good to get it off your chest. 1,000%. I'm 1,000% recommend getting it off your chest. The one time I didn't get it off my chest, it still bothered me. All these years later. It's now off my chest, I guess. Sort of. It's on Patreon, so I've let it go. Theodore, when I've had a terrible boss, I would have everyone to write the same thing in their exit interviews because I know that it will eventually lead to their termination. It's true. Also, so I had a great manager this time around. I've had awful managers. And when I have complained, it's always, oh, nobody else said anything. Are you sure it's not you? And I'm like, what? How did no one say anything? So definitely document. I'm a big fan of screenshot and document in life and at work. At all times. All right, Candy Jan, thank you for the super chat. I've left many good jobs. Great job. Yes, listen, sometimes it's just not for you. Sometimes it's not for you. It was interesting to read the comments on the I Quit video. 97% of them, so arbitrary number, are very positive. People like agreeing. And there were 3% of people saying like wild things, which I knew they would. But it was interesting to see other people feel so bothered at someone they don't know who exists only on a screen to them, being like, oh, why would you leave your job? Blah, blah, blah. That's so selfish. I'm like, it's selfish of me to quit my job that I hate, that makes me miserable, that helps no one.
Yeah.
Being a transactional attorney helps zero people, helps nobody. To go run diversity, equity, inclusion, to actually try and help people, to do anti-racism work, that's selfish. That's interesting. I think those people that said that didn't watch the whole video, child. They just wanted to complain. People like to complain. People like to complain. So yes. All right. To Sam's point, receipts save them. Look, receipts will save you. I have so many receipts at all times. All right, so Think Tank 1, I must agree, I don't understand how the insurrection is not being treated as if it wasn't an act of domestic terrorism. Yes, we are almost close to the 1-year anniversary. We got to keep the conversation up. Yes, we do. We're definitely on, let's see the calendar. What day is the 6th? Oh, the 6th is a Thursday. Next week, that'll be the live. We'll do the insurrection. I do want to warn you, though, because it is a live, I've done the insurrection in a live before. It's buried in a Khloe Kardashian video. For one reason and one reason alone, I didn't want the trolls to pop up and derail the conversation. They will likely pop up. We'll have mods, but I just want to let you know, if you don't want your blood pressure raised next week, then you can just watch the replay. Because I don't want anybody to have their blood pressure raised. Because that's what trolls do. They live in their mama's basement. They have nothing to do. It is what it is. But yes. All right. Okay. Amber Rochelle, people are tired of working jobs where they not giving what they said they was gonna give. Child, no, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Again, I'm gonna say this again. I went to law school. In law school, they tell you in New York, when you walk in the door, when you graduate, you're gonna make $180,000. I have never a day in my 30 years of life signed an offer letter for $180,000. I have friends that work in private sector that still have not made 6 figures. And that is a problem because we as lawyers, the majority of us owe 6-figure loans. It is a cyclical scam. It is a scam. So that's that. So Vincent St. Louis paid off 2/3 of student loans at 3 a.m. after binging your videos. The rest will be gone next week. Praise be. Congratulations. Yes. Yay. Yes to freeing yourself from these student loans.
Come on, Fantasia.
Yes, to Elle Summers' point, yes, trolls can be modded out. Exactly. We'll get rid of them, but I just want to let you know, because usually I feel like our lives are in a good, let's have conversation and happiness and jovialness and learn from each other. Trolls don't like to learn. Trolls are allergic to those things. So listen. Nezuko's, what was the best case you covered this year? Ooh, that's a good question. Hold on. I didn't pack the right bra. So there's that.
Covering something.
Oh, best case this year. What was the best? Oh, okay. It's not the best one, but to be honest, it brought me joy because I thought it was hilarious. And it was just like, wait, what is happening? In terms of the insurrection, it ties into that. I did a video, which I will link it below afterwards. I don't remember what the title was, but it basically was all of the Dominion lawsuits. And I think we covered 3 of them. One being Mr. My Pillow, that man is wild.
He's crazy.
He's unwell. I think he's purposely unwell. That runs My Pillow, and then one was against Sydney. What's Sydney's last name? I'm forgetting her name. The lawyer that said, "Oh, only an unreasonable person would believe her when she said that the election was stolen." That to me was the best case that we covered and the most impactful, because people are trying to brush it under the rug like these allegedly very educated, very rich, very wealthy people aren't purposely trying to bamboozle others and trying to destroy this little democracy. And I say little democracy because it's not that democratic. But that's a different argument for another day. So that's my favorite one. Also, I think that video is just funny as well. So I'll link that below. I think that video deserved more eyeballs. I think it's hilarious. So yes. Okay. What about places like Skadden, Sullivan, Cromwell, and Cravath? Oh, Sullivan. What about them in terms of salary or in terms of physical health, mental health?
They mean salary.
In terms of salary, yes. So Big Law does start at $180,000. Big Law also notoriously generally hires from T14, so top 14 schools. I went to Brooklyn Law School. Brooklyn Law School's top 100. It's not T14. It's not Ivy League. Also, if you are Black or brown, you're not going to work at those places. They will not interview you unless you went to Harvard, Yale, any Georgetown, any of the T14, and are also very attractive and very much slim. And I say that with full conviction, and it is very uncomfortable. In law school, I went to a few events when I first learned like what actual wealth was, and like it was very jarring and very uncomfortable, which is why the 100K argument on Twitter annoys me. When I saw like actual wealth and I went, they used to throw these mixers where they would have the Black law students come in, they would have the partners stay there, and they would be like, see, look, we're showing the Black law students our offices, immaculate offices in Midtown, beautiful, stunning. They have the best whiskey, the this, the that, the finest wine, all that in the next. Most of those people don't get interviews, but then they would parade around, and most of those law firms, I would say between 400 to 1,000 plus of attorneys. That's why it's called big law. They would then parade around their Black attorneys, never more than 15 of them, 20 maximum. And mind you, you're in an office of 500. So the minority of the minority, and they all very homogeneous look, all very much, they talk to you, you know, they're trying their best. They're trying to survive. They're on running club together. They're running marathons on the weekend, child. They are working till 2 a.m. They are very much, every hair is in place. Every hair is straightened. Everything is perfect, immaculate, because if not, they wouldn't get to work there. And I've had friends that have worked in big law, and big law, notoriously, most Black associates that even get to big law generally quit by year 2, if they make it to year 2, because they get treated so poorly. So there's that.
There's that side of it.
There's that. All right. Hi, Nicole. So to prosper with Jess, yes, the average lawyer makes between 60 to 80K, but they definitely don't say that when you sign the dotted line for those loans. They do not. And the average lawyer owes, I believe it's now $150,000 on average. Jesus. So I'm obviously higher than that. I borrowed $215, and then $75,000 of my $304 trifling dollars is just interest that has racked up over the past 5 years. Just interest.
Yeah, and I remember we were looking at that. Somebody made like a photo thing on Instagram, I think, where they showed all of the senators that went to law school and how much it costs.
Yes, Free Roots Project.
Yes,
the best Instagram page on Instagram.
And they literally like made a slideshow of like all the senators that went to law school and how much it cost when they went. And like even Kamala, who went in like the late 90s, I want to say.
She went to Howard.
Hers was maybe like
$3,000.
Yeah, it wasn't over 5. It was not over 5,000.
Cost of tuition, if we look it up right now, Brooklyn Law School, I believe, is $40,000. And this is tuition a year. Tuition, as in you can't live in the library. I've tried it. I sleep in there sometimes between class. I wasn't going to go all the way back to my grandparents' house. You also have to have room and board. So if you want to go to a good school and you want to go to a school in New York, well, you obviously have to live in New York, which means you should pay New York rent, which New York rent is obscene. So then you borrow money for cost of living.
And you can't work. Especially during 1L.
No, you can't work.
You don't have time.
No. So yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam. Bree, I love the Karen civil case and when you went over Meg Thee Stallion's contract. Thank you. That was a good one too. That was a good one.
Karen civil was fun. Oh my God, I'm the one that got her on Clubhouse that day. Because Twitter was blowing up, and I was like, Stephanie, I was sending her all of the tweets. I was like, you just need to get on Clubhouse and listen to this shit because it is wild. I
had to download the Clubhouse. I've never been on. Y'all know I was as someone who's a former technology attorney, tech attorney, has worked in tech all these years. I'm not very good with tech, which is ironic. So Chelsea put me on the Clubhouse. So I'm sitting on Clubhouse, listening to Clubhouse, taking notes, trying to make dinner. That was a lot of commotion. Next thing I know, they're yelling about payola. They're confessing to crimes. Confessing to crimes is what got me.
What
got me is confessing to crimes.
It went crazy. I was not expecting that. I also was not expecting that thing to be like, 5 hours?
It was very long.
It was long.
I did like 3.5 hours for y'all because I was like, I cannot with this. It lost me at the crimes. I was like, wait, if I'm listening to the crime, like what does that mean? What does that mean? I was like, I have to remove myself from this.
Am I liable?
Like when they started yelling about payola, Wack said, which also, why would you call yourself that? I mean, that was indicative of a personality type of someone who needs therapy. And when he started yelling that was the norm and that he has never seen an itemized receipt a day in his life. And I was like, sir, just because you're doing the wrong thing doesn't mean people are running around doing the wrong thing.
It's just wild because especially where we used to work, I was like,
everyone has itemized receipts.
Everybody had receipts. Like they do not play that. They don't play that.
Can you imagine being at CAA and being like, I don't know, I just spent the money.
Yeah, no.
Finance would have had a fit. Finance would have been like, okay, we're not reimbursing you.
So quick. Like,
well, money was spent, but we're not reimbursing you because I don't see a receipt. Like, you ordered $500 worth of food. What did you eat? Who was there? You have to put the names.
They were asking questions over restaurants, so you couldn't be not itemizing receipts.
Listen. All right. Adoring Adesua. Let me know how to pronounce it. I practiced the names so that way I get them right. So I didn't practice one. Let me know. I'm so glad to have found more channels like yours this year. I love seeing Black women talking about the law and having Wall Street research content on YouTube. Thank you. I'm happy that there are more of us. And I'm happy that there are other Black women attorneys have reached out to me and they're starting channels. So I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited there are more of us on YouTube. And YouTube has been so fun. I appreciate y'all. This has been our Thursday live, which this month was sporadic because life. Our general Thursday live that we've kept to, I would say like 90% of the 95% of the time has been like one of the highlights of my week through the panorama. And so I appreciate y'all a lot. Candice, where'd you go? Okay. What is your favorite bottle of wine you sipped from during your videos? My favorite bottle of wine this entire year has been Aslina, which is a South African wine. Yeah. A South African wine run by the first Black woman winemaker in South Africa, Nisiki Biela, who's also a lovely human being. She's so nice. I tagged her in like a post and like we had like such a nice conversation. Like she's a nice person. Her Sauvignon Blanc 2020 is excellent. And then I don't like Chardonnay, but I really wanted to support her. So I tried her Chardonnay. Her Chardonnay is great. Her 2021 Chardonnay, it's Aslina, Aslina. My favorite brand, best wine, is excellent. The best, great, it's great. And I'm glad to see her like in more stores, like across Brooklyn now, which is really cool. All right. Okay, D. Smith. What are your plans now that you quit? I am going next week. I start my new job. I'm going to run/build out a diversity, equity, inclusion program at this global tech company. So I'm super excited and not like kumbaya, let's show the colored hands DEI. I mean, bring in some like anti-racism work because tech is very homogenous and very racist.
Extremely.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that makes me super happy that I've been seeing now, Chelsea sent me one, and then I also saw the Microsoft employees are doing it, where employees are banding together and making huge Google Docs and Google spreadsheets of their salaries because women are underpaid, Black women are underpaid, Latina women are underpaid the most. Lord have mercy, paying them pennies. 50 something cents is trifling. And so by showing how much you make, which is why I'm like very open about how much I make, you can have pay solidarity and say like, oh, hey, if I'm making this, like, why is Chelsea not making this? Or if my friend Mike is like, oh, I make 20 grand more than Stephanie, it doesn't hurt him to tell me, Stephanie girl, you're getting screwed. So highly, highly, highly recommend that. All right.
If you want to get into that.
I have to look up what they landed at for Dr. Dre.
I think 100 million.
Did they?
She's gonna get 100 million.
Oh,
I think I heard that on
20
yesterday.
years, and it's
24.
24 years, and
two kids.
He's allegedly worth $1 billion plus.
Yeah, he's a billionaire.
That's 10%. My math is not my ministry, but I think that's 10%. That seems correct.
Yeah.
That seems correct. We've talked about this before when we talked about the Dr. Dre and Nicole, yeah. I think it's important you say people's names. And Nicole's divorce settlement. And specifically we talked about it because there is this like misconstrued perception by people on the internet, specifically I've noticed, where people are very concerned about others taking their money, but they may not necessarily have the money. And when you're looking at that situation, marriage is a contract. Marriage is, hey, it's me and you. The rest of our life, I agree to take care of you. You agree to take care of me, et cetera, et cetera. It's a legal document. Mm-hmm. So if we break this document, like, okay, well, I still have to eat. Like, you have to eat. There are plenty of women that have been forced to pay alimony and spousal support to their husbands.
Mary J. Blige.
And that is actually a trifling one.
Yeah,
because
it's a really
if we're talking about if it's $100 million and Dr. Dre is allegedly worth $1 billion plus, that's 10% of the money. That's okay. That's not a lot of money. Mary J. Blige is paying Kendi, I think, what, $30,000 or $40,000 a month?
Yeah, she's paying him a lot.
It's a lot of money. That percentage is significantly higher.
Yeah.
So
I think also what people forget is that it's supposed to alimony. The point of the settlements and stuff is to keep up the lifestyle you had,
make you whole.
Right. Like Nicole, when she requested that $100K a month, it sounds crazy to us, but that's literally how much the woman was probably living on every month. So she's like, this is my lifestyle.
That's out of my pay range.
It's way out of mine too.
It's out of my pay range. But that's also what always took me. What I just find the most interesting of her original request was the phone bill. The phone bill was like $20,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, who are you calling? That's all I wanted to know. I'm like, who are you calling? I just want to know who you're calling.
She calling everybody.
Girl,
clearly. For 20K.
Clearly.
She's calling me and you.
All right. Theodore Pierce. What's the name of the IG page? My IG page? Or as Lena? Are we talking about Lena?
Free Roots Project?
Oh, Free Roots Project. So his original one got taken down. It had 4 million subscribers, which was just Free Roots Project. It's Free Roots Project, the number 2. I was going to say the letter 2, the number 2. It's the best page. It's run by this, Midwestern. So geographically, he's from St. Louis, Black man. It's great. He's like a single dad. It touches on a lot of topics like classism, touches on racism, politics. And it has funny memes occasionally. Very, very well read. Very, very like for the people all day, every day. Love it. Yes. So it's Free Roots Project 2.
Number 2.
Because the original one did get deleted because people complain when you start calling them out. So there's that. Okay, let's go down.
I'm sorry. This is taking me down.
Oh, like, yes. My job is done. Thank you. You saved me from going to law school. Thanks a bunch. I will say this again because I don't want people to think I'm squashing their dreams. It's for certain people, but it's not for the majority of people. I'm going to be honest. It's not for everybody. So if you pop up in my DMs, which people do, and you tell me you want to go to law school, my first question is always, okay, did you intern or work as a paralegal or contract manager for a year? And if the answer is no, then 1000%, I don't think you should go yet. Try it for a year as a contract manager or paralegal, and then either you love it or you're like, oh, all these people are miserable. I don't like it. And that's it. All of my friends that still like being an attorney, which is one at this point, is Desiree. And it's because she took time off and worked as a paralegal before she went to law school.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I know to be happy. So the non-traditional, quote unquote, older law students are the people who actually they chose it for themselves. Versus if you're like me, I said this in my video, you have immigrant parents, it's like doctor, lawyer, failure. So my dad is still mad about that video, but we're not going to talk about that.
You know what saved me from going to law school? I read this book called 1L.
Oh my gosh, I read that book. I read that book when I was in 1L. So that didn't help me.
I read it when I was getting ready to take the LSAT. And I was like, oh no, this is what the girls are doing down to Harvard.
The girls are stressed.
What does this mean for the rest of the people?
The girls are stressed. The guys, they, everybody. The stress. Everybody in their mom. It's stressful. It's unnecessarily stressful. Well, I don't think I've ever said this, but one thing, the way that law school curriculum is taught, I think is based on a way to shame people. So they use Socratic method, which some people fully believe in it. I think most people think it's traumatizing. Socratic method is you call on one person. Sometimes they'll call multiple people randomly and you have them answer questions, but they're not the way in law school it works. It's not like a regurgitation of facts. They have you read all these cases. So you read the cases and then the professor will call on you and a good professor will just start changing the facts of the case, but the rule of law is the same. So then you're supposed to apply the rule of law to the facts. So I'll never forget my first day of law school. I went to Loyola and I transferred to Brooklyn Law School, Loyola, New Orleans. Shout out to New Orleans, favorite place in America, hands down. And my first year of law school, I joined Black Law Students Association. And then I went on to become a VP in Black Law Students Association. So I got assigned a mentor, lovely person. Shout out to Misha, awesome attorney, wonderful human being. She told me, and I got assigned the mentor before school started, Stephanie, if you sit in the front of the class, Professor Sen, contracts, my contracts professor, love, also amazing professor. If you sit in the front of the class and you look at him, he won't call on you the first day. I said, okay, great. I'm eager. I'm ready. I've been waiting all my life. Here we are. It's now 8 years into my legal path. Here we go. So I sat in front of class. I look at the professor. Next thing I know, he's looking at his roster. Miss Stephanie. I was about to say my last name. Miss Stephanie. I was like, oh, shit. He calls on me. It's me and him for 90 minutes grilling me. I was mortified. But it was a learned hand case, which was a mess, but it went fine. But it instills this, some people are awful at public speaking. Some people do not want to talk in front of others. Not everybody learns that way. It is traumatizing to think you're going to get embarrassed in front of your peers. I don't think the way they teach most law school classes is conducive for actual learning. I mean, it drills into your head like, okay, I need to know things spot on. Look at Maze. But yeah. So you saved yourself, Theodore, from that. And shout out to Professor Sen, best contracts professor, and probably like a good transactional lawyer because he was such a great professor. And when I passed the bar, I sent him an email and told him that. And I was like, I passed the bar and I got like I scored the highest in the contract section. And I was like, it's probably thanks to you. So thank you. But yeah, awesome. And B, would you recommend going full-time and taking cost of living loans out, or part-time and maintaining a full-time job? I'm trying to go back as 31-year-old non-traditional student. I am team least amount of loans possible, to be honest. And I'm team least amount of loans possible because I owe a ridiculous amount. I have paid off now a little bit over $100,000 in over a year, a little under 2 years. The way that grad plus loans work, so law schools or graduate school, the interest starts on the day you take them out. Right now, the interest is paused, so it won't start if you were to take them out right now. But once Joe makes up his mind, they're going to start again. And the interest for law school loans ranges from 6 to 10%. It's wild. It's high. A wild amount of money.
That's crazy high.
Which is how I have, at the minimum, will pay back $75,000 just in interest of money I didn't borrow. So I'm very much of the least amount of money you can borrow, the better. It will just give you peace of mind. It will give you peace of mind. Nezuko, personally, I will never forgive you for introducing me to Carol Baskin.
That was such a dark time in this.
You needed that, Nezuko. You needed to see that America and South Africa both have the same type of trifling people that are running around doing craziness.
No, it's true.
Interesting. All right. OC Slim Kim, did you hear Dave Ramsey is releasing a credit card with a $0 limit? I thought Dave didn't believe in credit cards.
I was just about to say that. Isn't that his whole ethos?
You know what? At this point, if you are still letting Dave ruin you and give you PTSD, when I started my debt-free journey, I tried the Dave Ramsey plan, gazelle-like intensity. Chelsea knows, rice and beans. I was like, no, girl, I can't go there. No, girl, I can't do this. No. And it made me, after like 6 months, so depressed. Because it's not normal. You cannot, if you have, I would say maybe 30,000 or less, you could do Dave Ramsey for a year. 40,000 maybe. If you have 6-figure loans, you cannot do Dave Ramsey and keep your sanity for multiple years. If you have 6-figure loans, it's multiple years. It's best that you stay on your debt payoff plan versus trying it, getting burnt out, and then spending all your money. So I changed from Dave Ramsey. When I did Dave Ramsey's plan, I think I was 70-30. 70% of my paycheck went towards my student loans. 30% went towards just necessities. I did nothing besides that. And then I changed it to 65-35. And that wasn't a huge difference, but that 5% of money was like a couple $100s that I just set aside every month. Like, okay, I'm gonna buy this nice top from Zarina Akers, a black stylist. I'm gonna buy, well, I don't have them in right now, I usually have earrings. I'm gonna buy these earrings that make me happy. And it wasn't just always stuff, it was mostly food. Let's be honest. It was mostly, I'm gonna spend this money on the sushi and I feel great about it and I'm happy about it. Dave Ramsey plan is outdated. It's outdated for modern life. We're also in a potpourri, a pandemic, a panini, a whatever the hell it is. It's continuing on. It's not normal to be in that type of environment, plus like continuing on. You hear these sneakers in the back? Loud. I told them they wanted to join the live. Wow. I was loud. What, Gabriel? You have something to say? You could join the live and say it. Loud. All right. Prosper Jess. I was a part-time law student and worked in the day. It's doable. I didn't graduate with nearly as much debt. Okay. Agreed.
And I think it's only an extra year, right? Or is it?
It's an extra year, yeah. You can do the 4-year program.
That's not that bad.
For context, I don't recommend what I'm about to say, but I'm just telling you, you can do things within reason, I interned at Rent the Runway while I studied for the bar, which people are like, you can't have a job when you study for the bar. My boss worked at Davis Polk in Big Law and studied for the bar many years prior, who was also a Black woman. Shout out to her. And she encouraged me, was like, you can do this if you want to do this. You want to work in tech, I highly recommend. So I did it and I survived and it was fine. It was not fun. It was not enjoyable, but I definitely credit like working and studying for the bar as why I was able to go in-house. So I highly recommend take out the least amount of debt possible. Rhonda G. My first video was a Juneteenth one. I loved the Juneteenth video. I was hooked immediately, loved every video since. Thank you, Rhonda. That is a great video. That sporadic Joe just giving us Juneteenth the day before was very rude. Joe is rude.
That was so rude.
It was so rude. I was like, you couldn't plan it ahead of time then if you were going to do this?
Like Juneteenth has been around for literally many, many years. So.
Since 1865. Since Juneteenth. The people, I was like, all of my Texas friends, Chelsea's from Texas, all my Texas friends were like, but wait. And I was like, you know what? This is a mess. This is a mess. But yes.
It's about to end up like Kwanzaa, guys. Just commercial.
Okay. Bust God. Math is not my ministry. What does this mean? I'm confused. I'm bad at math. It's not the Lord did not give that to me to minister to you to do numbers. It's not my ministry. Surprisingly, for someone who's bad at math, my math is not always off. Not always off. All right. Okay, so let's continue. We're going down. Okay. Pop Talk, do you watch the final season? I did. Y'all don't start. Y'all know this is my show. I'm so sad. Chelsea works still in entertainment and TV and film. Chelsea has mixed feelings about the final season. I do. It wasn't the same cadence or pace of the other seasons as usual. But episode 9 I thought was amazing. The finale I thought was like really good. It wrapped everything up. I needed timestamps because I was like, oh, we're jumping through time.
Yeah,
like,
I feel
where
like
are
that's
we
my
at?
biggest critique. I was just like, I feel like we could have put 3 months, 6 months, a year.
I was a little lost. But then it made me realize like that's how life works sometimes. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh shit.
It's been
all
6
this time.
months.
It's been I've had all these birthdays. I've had 2 panorama birthdays. I don't know how old I am anymore. I don't know. I don't know if it counts. I don't know how this is. But yeah, I love that show. Maybe we'll do a video just on that show. It's I think one, because the target demographic is Black women. So on that demographic. Also Black women whose careers have not given what it's supposed to give, which from the day the show came out, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I see this. Also, I think she's done a great job of showing how a lot of Black women have gone to college, racked up debt, done these things like they're supposed to, and our lifestyle. Like when she used to live in Dunes, I was like, yeah, girl, here I am in Crooklyn, living the same way. Like I get it. Because then people look at you like, but you're a lawyer, you're this. I'm like, I have all this debt. Like, of course I'm living hood adjacent. Like this is life. This is reality of life. I love that show. Such a beautiful show. Shout out to her. Mm-hmm. Shout out to her for making that show and everybody on that show. I recommend that if you haven't watched it, she did a documentary. It's called like Insecure, the End.
I think it's The End. Yeah, it's on HBO Max. So good.
It's beautiful. It goes all of behind the scenes. It shows how, I think to her credit, she's an amazing writer, amazing creator, amazing all those things, but also a good person that lifts and has lifted up other people. And that documentary showed all the various people that worked on that show, that it was their first time directing. It was their first time like being a writer's assistant. It was their first time in a writing room, their first time doing all these things. And she gave all these people a shot because somebody gave her a shot. And that was so beautiful to see. That was so beautiful to see. It's very moving.
And it's very rare in entertainment, unfortunately.
I told y'all when we covered...
Especially for other Black women.
Yeah, very rare. Because you're the token, you're the only, you're this. And a lot of people, Gabrielle Union talked about it years ago, where she said that she was tokenized and made to feel like, well, it's either me or if it's not me, then it's nobody. And like, so it caused her to have a lot of insecurity, but also caused her to act in a way that she didn't feel was like true to herself. And so I like applaud her for like being honest about that, because it can make you, particularly like with the colorism aspect, can make you like very resentful, understandably so. So highly recommend watching the documentary. It was beautiful. I'll probably watch it again. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the whole season again. So yeah, I recommend. That's my show. That's our show. I said it before. I feel like Insecure is a love letter to Black women. And it was just so nice to be seen, to just watch it and be like, yes, yes. Also to realize that Molly was the prototypical big law attorney at first. And I was like, oh girl, no. Classist and egregious. I was so happy to see Molly's growth, All right. Okay. LOL, bye, Marcus. Look at Marcus.
Sir.
Anyways, he's right here. You see how he's just loud, disruptive. I'm not giving you your $5 back either. Thank you, friend. This is Gabriel's best friend, who is also fucking right here. Sorry, right here. Excuse my French. LOL. Jokes.
Language, ladies.
Join the.
You want to join the live?
I'm good.
Y'all don't have to whisper.
We're whiskey and
Now they feel like I'm censoring them. They were watching anime, and I was like, we're gonna do the live. All right. What if you still really want to go to law school, but you've only worked as a legal assistant for a year? I've always had issues finding a job as a paralegal because I didn't have a paralegal experience. I think a legal assistant is close enough because you're around lawyers. So if you feel like I had a boss, I don't remember when, that told me you should look at your boss and see, like, is this a lifestyle I want? So if you look at your boss and you're like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I like their quality of life, what they're doing, the work is interesting, etc. Then it's probably for you. From the beginning, I always was like, why these people don't leave the office? My boss, who shall not be named, that I cannot stand from way back when, that Chelsea knows, literally she was an objectively awful person, but I always had a lot of empathy for her because I felt bad. She would stay in that office so late, and I would tell her, like, hey, you should go home. Like, everybody else is gone. Like, we should go. And it was always, I can't leave. I have to do all of this. Like, people will be judging me. And I'm like, how can they judge? They left the office though, girl. Like, they left the office. And because entertainment, particularly the way most entertainment companies treat attorneys, they treat you like the post office. And it's toxic. Yeah. It's always, the attorney is on call. The attorney has to be here. Different fields operate differently. Nonprofit leaves at 5. Mm-hmm. My friends that work in public service, they leave at 5. They also make much less money, and there are trade-offs with that and like the type of work, etc. But if you've worked somewhere around other attorneys for a year and you like it, then I would say, go ahead. And but don't hold me to it if you don't like it.
I would also say to this, because like I said, I briefly pursued this in college, an intern for a lawyer. I don't know if I ever told you that. Yes, I interned for, he represents, I'll tell you who he was a big lawyer for. He was a big lawyer for a very big sports star. Anyways.
What sport?
Basketball.
Okay.
I'll tell you who it was for after. But I would also say like working in-house, because I remember when I was doing that, I also interviewed the guy who was like the in-house lawyer for, I think, the Washington Capitals, like the hockey team in DC. That man was chill. Like, exactly. It really just depends on what side of things you're on, because like he was just like, I'm sure stuff was going on, but like that man was just like,
it depends. Yes. I knew this environmental lawyer, which this is a very specific, he's a lovely person. I'm not gonna say anything bad. That worked at Sullivan and Cromwell when I was in law school. I don't know if he works anymore. I would assume I hope he has retired. Lovely, lovely man. And he was very chill. He was very much like, I bike over here, I do my work, and then I leave. Like, and then he would say, he's like, these people very stressed, not me. He had worked there for 20 years. So I think it depends. My qualm with the legal field has always been, I don't like the work and I don't like the lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was a mix of both. It was not for me. I think being a legal assistant, you get enough exposure to see like what type of work you're interested in. And then also like, oh, is this lifestyle similar to what I want? Some people love work, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do.
Or they just get to a high enough position that they can set firm boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because if you're a VP, nobody's going to tell you like, you got to be here at 8 a.m. They're like, nah, you come in whenever you want.
Exactly.
Do what you want.
Exactly. All right. Okay. I think I went back. Did I go backwards?
No, you're going down.
Okay.
Because the time's going down.
Okay. And I'm like, where? Oh, 809. Okay. So I'm like, I'm a little bit behind. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. I'm going down.
Sorry.
Focusing on, I'm like, all right. I guess it is. Where is it? Yes, 3 rounds of applause to Sam. I actually paid off some of her student loans this month. I just wish everyone was free of them. So shout out to Sam for paying off the student loans. I'm so happy for you. So happy for you. But yes. Andre, no spoilers. Go on and watch the show. No, I won't give any spoilers. But go watch it. It's sitting there. It's waiting for you. All right. Do you guys watch Brianna Joy Gray? Do you?
No,
I'm not familiar. I will look her up afterwards. I'm not familiar. Okay. I didn't say anything. Andre said, y'all are not listening to the request of not giving Insecure spoilers. It was not me. Okay. All I did was talk about the documentary.
No, we didn't give any spoilers.
Wait, no, it's such a beautiful show. Go watch it.
Go watch it.
Kiki, hey Kiki, I loved your Britney conservatorship breakdowns. Thank you, and I'm glad our gal is free. Good for her.
I hope she's going to do a tell-all interview soon. Yes. I feel like she will once she has time to figure out 2021 and being free.
That I hope she gets all the rest she wants, all the small mundane, let's go buy candles that she didn't get to do. I hope she gets all of that, and then I hope she presses charges against Jamie and his trifling behind. 1,000%.
I think she said she's also working on new music.
Good for her. And if she doesn't, then that's fine too.
Yeah.
Whatever she wants to do, because that's wild. That whole entire story is
honestly, shout out to her fans, because I honestly don't think if they had never started those podcasts, nobody would have noticed.
The two women,
the two ladies,
that started the podcast. I'm like, something is not right. Yes, shout out to them. All right, so I'm just going through. So just gonna put this on here. If you haven't watched Insecure yet, you should watch Insecure. All right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, no, she's come so far.
She's come so far. She also seems like such a lovely person. It's nice to see people win.
She seems great.
It's nice to see people win. All right, so I'm just going through the comments. Okay. Of course, Sam. I'm super happy for you. So if you watch the student loan series, if you have student loans and you're avoiding them, I highly recommend you watch the series, and not because, you need to go pay them off. I mean, you should. It will make you feel better. But because there's such a lovely community in those videos of people that are also paying off their student loans. The reason why I started doing those videos was because I got tired of complaining to Chelsea, who has no student loans. I got tired of complaining to Gabriel, who has minimal student loans. And my law school friends that had student loans, they didn't want to talk about it. And, so it's nice to have community. So I'm super proud of you, Sam. Super, super proud of you. Whenever I see other people finish paying off their loans, I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to get there. And I'm done. I'm free. So we will get there. All right. Okay, so this is for Brianna. Check her out. She went to HLS, then she went into politics, and now she does a podcast on YouTube. Among other things, you should like her. Okay, great. I will definitely circle back and watch her. Okay, let's see. I love when
Yo.
I think we have some subscribers from Finland. I know Sweden, definitely South Africa, a few Aussies, and some people from the UK. And I love when non-American educated people who have gone through different education systems come into the chat and let us know that the American education system is farce and nonsense, particularly student loan system. So yeah. I 100% agree with you, Brie. This makes me want to move to Finland. Everyone can go to school for free, except I hate the cold. I detest the cold.
Yeah.
Detest. But yeah, there's no need. There are a lot of, I don't think it's a lot. I think there are a vocal minority of disgruntled people on the internet, I'm learning. And the disgruntled minority on the internet is like, it's not fair to forgive any student loans because if I knew that, I would have went to school. That's not true. That's not true. It is fair because it's not forgiveness. We pay an absorbent amount of taxes and there is no itemized receipt. Right. There is no itemized receipt. I'm going to tell you the majority of that money goes to the defense fund, which literally used to be called the war budget. The war budget, because America's a warmonger. You can watch Colonizer Exposed. The America videos are up. YouTube. They're on YouTube. The rest of them aren't. They're on Patreon.
Subscribe to her Patreon.
Yes, I owe y'all videos. Y'all know this. But that's where the majority of federal taxes go. Federal taxes used to go to education, which I need to find that post and then I'll link the post so you can see it, which is why most boomers, as well as, is boomers Gen X?
No, boomers before Gen X.
Okay, so the boomers and the Gen X have most of them that chose to go to college, they went for little to nothing. Mm-hmm. They paid little to nothing because the government subsidized it for them, as they should. And then they realized when millennials rolled around, subsidize? We can tax them. We can pay them. You know what? Let them pay. Let us add. I went to University of Central Florida. Go Knights. Love it. I will donate back to the school because the school has done a lot for me. However, why? UCF is not the only one doing this. There's a provost, there's a president, there's all these admins that make millions of dollars doing what? They don't teach class. They just smile. They show up to football games. I have no idea what they do. They live on a mansion on campus doing who knows what. It's unnecessary. And to raise tuition all these years, it has never gone to professors. It has never gone to better education. It's never gone to any of those things. It's just gone to making certain people richer. So our education system and how much it costs needs an overhaul along with student loan forgiveness. So people that are against it are simply just misinformed and selfish.
Not to mention, most of these schools have those huge endowments, and they don't even.
Harvard put the kids on the street.
Yeah, no, Harvard.
They put the children on the street.
Yeah.
During the panorama, they said, "Oh, well, you children that are international students and you can't fly back home because there were racist protocols in place, so they couldn't fly back home. Or you kids that come from broken homes, you come from a place that's unsafe. Well, you can't be in this dorm that you paid for anymore because of the panorama. And we have a multi-billion dollar.
Yeah, they've got multi-billion dollars.
I think."
They've got the largest.
They have the largest endowment. I'm going to tell you how much it is right now. Harvard endowment. The Harvard endowment right now is $53.2 billion sitting there, supposed to be used for students, supposed to be used for the staff, supposed to be used for the facilities. They didn't use it on them kids.
Nope.
They told them to go get hotels and to leave the premises. And then when the kids went to social media, they were like, oh, okay, I guess we'll put them up, I suppose. They could put them kids up in the Ritz-Carlton. Is that still a nice hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I don't know.
They just give them a nice lobster dinner once a semester. That's where that endowment money's going.
Also, there's a study that came out that more than 50% of Harvard students are legacy students. So take with that what you want. Take with that what you want. They got
called out about that. They are notorious.
People are convinced that if you are Black or brown, you got there based on affirmative action, which affirmative action, generally speaking, only benefits white women. But okay. And the rest of the people at Harvard are legacy. So, I don't know how much that education is worth these days. I truly do not know. All right. Oh, thank you, Joanna Fire. As a Christian, I apologize you're attacked by Dave Ramsey hooligans. Hooligans is such a good word. I think him firing his employee for out of wedlock pregnancy is disgusting. God bless, and I wish you a lovely year. I wish you a lovely year too. Thank you. Yes, those hooligans, I don't count them as Christian. Their behavior is very unchristian, like those hooligans.
Fake Christians.
Yeah, child. They need to work on their blood pressure. I know it's high. Hi, Martha. I'm a new subby and I'm a fan. I've been binge watching. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. I hope it's warm if you like the warm. I know some people like the cold, apparently. I don't know why, but I hope everybody's New Year is warm because warmth is good. Hugh McDonald, in regards to Finland, the free healthcare and education.
He's right, though.
You know what, Hugh? You're very right.
He's correct.
Listen, I could learn to bundle. I could get a multicolored puffer jacket.
It actually reminds me of this tweet this one man made on Twitter. I don't remember his name, but Anyways, he moved to Denmark. He said like after school. And he was like, it costs more money overall to live like anywhere in Scandinavia. Like it's expensive because like taxes everything's higher, right? Mm-hmm. But he's like, but I had a social safety net. So he's like, I never felt like I was going to be out on the street, like ever. And he's like, I was not getting paid as much as I get paid here. Like, it's just a totally different lifestyle. And you don't have to be like afraid or like have anxiety around that, which is probably nice.
Right? What does that feel like?
I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know.
Some side note, some of these jobs, my job it didn't, but some of these jobs started paying for therapy, like your therapy during the panorama.
Yeah,
and I thought that was great. That was great. They need to keep that up. Because how are you going to cause stress to people and then be like, deal with it yourself?
Oh my God, that's like our previous job we had amazing benefits. Like
we did.
Medical,
I used to pay $20.
Right.
Copay for therapy. Or it was $10.
It was cheap.
It was cheap.
It was 20
cheap.
or less. I can't remember what.
I think it was $10 at one point.
But I just always thought it was funny that I was like, they cover all this stuff, but when am I supposed to go to therapy?
And with what time?
Right. What time am I supposed to go? Because we were working there all day and late.
I used to go like 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like once a week. It was so late. So I would be in there like half asleep, like, girl, I'm stressed. Ooh, we made it out.
That was
I need wine for that.
You just remembered it.
It was an awful fucking
You just
place.
remembered going into that building.
I haven't walked past that building in years.
I know. Every time I see it on the side, I'm just like, oh.
I can't walk past that building. No.
And I had a positive experience compared to Stephanie. I had a wonderful, amazing boss, but
I will say, and I've said this before.
Agencies will like take it out of you.
They will. Agencies across like design, art, entertainment, law firms are essentially agencies. Law firms work people at a rate that is not anywhere near normal. Hold on, it's uneven.
And we weren't even getting properly like paid for it. So that was a whole other thing.
Was broke, hungry.
Not broken.
Broke. Oh, let me tell y'all a joke. This is how you know when life is not going well. I had a friend, and it was their birthday when I worked at CA and I was making pennies. It was their birthday. And like, of course, like New York, people's birthday dinners is like a thing. People are very serious about their birthday dinner. So you have to go. It doesn't matter if you don't have any money. You have to go. So I didn't have any money. They wanted to go to this nice restaurant. They invited like 10 people. And I was like, I did not get paid till like a couple of days later. I was like, there is no money for this dinner. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to dinner and I'm going to say that I had already ate. So I wasn't hungry. And I'll sit there like 30 minutes and then I'll go home. I sat there dead for hungry because I had money and I was like, well, I can't afford anything. And they were like, oh, you don't want anything? I was like, nope. Because I was like, we're not splitting the bill because there is no money on this card. And that was rough. That is rough when you work so hard and you realize you don't have it. And that is why when people like make those like stupid memes or like there are people that do financial advice and they don't tell you the whole thing, particularly, and this is not all of them. And so I've said this before, the married couples that go on debt-free journeys and they will say that they're married, but what they're not telling you is they're splitting all the bills. Like my debt is if we're married, my debt is your debt. We are together. They're both paying off one person's loans or they're both paying off both loans. They finish through the loans and their debt pay off so much faster. And then they just gaslight everybody else. Like, oh, well, look, I did it. I'm like, there was no I, girl. There was a we. There was a we. And I remember just feeling so bad. And so if you are not getting paid fairly, which is why I'm always like harping about pay equity, you cannot pay off your student loans if there is no pay equity. If you don't have the money, like where's the money gonna come from?
Right.
Which is why I quit that job eventually. I was like, well, this was my dream to work in entertainment, but like entertainment cannot pay off Sally Mae. And then also it then got ruined because my boss was psychotic. But yeah. So there's that random tangent. On to Kendall. I have a science degree. Ooh, kudos to you, girl. And work in pathology. I am literally always the only Black person, and I cannot stand it. I feel you. So I appreciate your honesty in your videos, and I appreciate you. It's hard being the only. It's uncomfortable and it's unnecessary, and these companies need to do better. They need to do better. And I think this is not your job. So if you ever quit that job, definitely say that in your exit interview. So I'm hoping in like my new role, since I'll be running DE&I, is to first and foremost push the talent acquisition team to realize like, okay, I looked at, my boss already did this because we've already kind of started. Like, oh, we looked at these teams and there are certain teams that are fully homogeneous. There's not a Black person. There's not a Latino person. There is not an Indigenous person. There is nobody but whiteness. So we need to fix that. So I'm excited. But yeah, we have to, and if you are a racialized person, it is not the burden on you to do these things. As a person who's always done it at work and has been burnt out, like doing DEI work for free, it is not on you to do these things.
No.
But I 100%.
And don't do it for free.
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 If they start putting that stuff on you, be like, okay, so you're going to up my pay, right?
We're like, oh, I would like you to pay for this.
Because that's a job.
That's a job.
DE&I is a job.
It's
and
a job.
Expensive job, too.
Remember,
the consultant girls get paid.
They're getting a coin. So you can tell them like, oh, I'm so glad you're interested in DI consulting. I highly recommend a consultant, child. And I don't recommend that I find it either. Like
you go look.
You go.
They'll pop up on LinkedIn.
Listen. All right. Joseph De Paola. I was like, I'm not saying this right. Do you recommend environmental law as a good law track? I only know that one environmental lawyer. He seemed very happy. I mean, this was a very happy middle-aged man. So, and I say middle-aged just to show he stayed in environmental law for so long. So, but he's the only one I know.
Maybe it's ramping up now, though. With
maybe
like climate change.
I think it can be helpful. I think it can be a helpful field. I don't know a lot about it, to be very honest. Okay. To Sam's point, I have faced some people I know recently who are surprised I still want student loans to be canceled after paying mine. I am unselfish. I want people to live their lives and keep their money. Yes, exactly. If I end up paying off all $304,000 and 17 trifling cents, I still want everybody else to live their life. Like this idea of I suffered, you need to suffer is foolish.
It's very hazing. Like, are we in a Greek fraternity?
It's very mean-spirited. What does it get? What does it get? Anybody? Nobody. It gets nobody anything. So
like I never had any loans, thankfully. Shout out to the US military and my parents.
Not the colonizing part of the military.
No,
the employs Black people part of the military.
Thank you. But
I would put that there.
I'm very pro paying off the student loans.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you be? It's weird.
We are all paying, and not by we because I rent. But if you own a home and you're child free or childless, you are paying property tax, and that goes to the children. That goes to education. Nobody would say, I'm not paying property taxes. Let these kids just run around with no education. Why? Kids without education cause commotion. Miami-Dade County, but you know.
In Miami, you said it specifically in Miami-Dade.
Girl, we need more money. We need more. They need to reallocate the property taxes. L. Summers, Colonizers Exposed series was excellent. Thank you. We're going to continue it. We are going to continue it. Okay. The link for Patreon should be, if you click on the banner, on the channel banner, it should automatically link. So let me know, Victory, if it doesn't work, but it should work. So the Patreon is just Wine and Chill Patreon. Okay. All right, let's go. Okay. Hugh McDonald, Harvard can afford for all students to go for free in perpetuity. Yes,
they could.
Yes, they can. But instead, they're hoarding. They're hoarding the money for nothing.
I don't know. That probably makes sense considering they're an Ivy. Honestly,
foolishness. Okay. Monica, I forget what we were talking about, but this is a good point. Don't forget the college sports industry. Some of these coaches are millionaires. Yes.
Yeah.
If you play for D1, these coaches are making a buck. They also get a lot of their life subsidized. They get free cars. I used to work for UCF football team. They're getting free cars. And I'm talking about like what is it? I don't know anything about football, which is ironic. The offensive coordinator.
Oh,
it's like it's not even a main coach. They're getting free cars. They are getting their meals paid for. They're getting all this crap. So I'm very glad now that the kids are getting allowed to have endorsements.
Right? No, I was so especially I'm nobody. I never played sports when I was in college.
So it's like, what's that thing where you sweat?
Yeah, I don't do that. But I was so pro it, especially because I worked at my school's like athletic department like my senior year. And I was just like, I don't understand you guys. And we're not a top tier D1 school. Nobody really cared about sports. But I'm sure that if you did, like, those kids deserve so much because they were really using them in video games and stuff all these years, merchandise, like
they're also paying them less than minimum wage when you do the math, which y'all know math is not my ministry, so I'm not going to do it. But if you did the math, the amount of field time or court time, whatever sport you're talking about, plus the amount of practice, plus like, oh, let's parade you around, is less than minimum wage that because all they give them is scholarship. Well, if you go to a public school, UCF is a public school. I think UCF is $3,000 in tuition. It's cheap. It's very cheap.
And then the kids couldn't afford to eat.
Which is, remember when what's his face was stealing crab legs?
Yeah.
He was hungry. He also was problematic. I take that back. But maybe he was hungry.
No, but there's been multiple college athletes that have come out and been like, I couldn't eat. Like, because they weren't giving dining room points, like cafeteria points, whatever. And so it's just like, this doesn't make any sense. These kids make you millions of dollars, probably billions, especially if you're like at the big schools. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, America and their problematic education system. Okay. Yeah, shout out to good therapist, Opulence Prime. My therapist said I should quit my job. I did. Yes, free yourself, boo. Yes, I'm all for it. All right. Kiki for free. Being single in this economy is so expensive. Yes. And there are no tax credits for being single.
No, there's like a hidden cost to being they don't unmarried. Tell you about that, to being unmarried or unpartnered.
No tax credits. It's wild. It's wild. Okay, well, let me scroll. I think we're almost all the way caught up. And I realized, oh, okay, we've hit the hour. Good. Let me see. Let's see if we have anything else. And then we where are your bootstraps at? Listen, I broke the bootstraps. They are broken because I've been pulling on them my whole life. They are very much broken. They're broken. And the only people that ever say bootstraps are very much wearing penny loafers, like penny loafers with a shiny penny in them. It's frustrating. A lot of which is why like finance YouTube can be helpful but hurtful at the same time, because a lot of gaslighting from people that are either middle class or upper middle class being like, you the poors need to manage your pennies better,
or they have high paying jobs.
Yeah,
like fire movement.
Which is why I'm honest about my salary. I'm like, I quit and I made $165,000 after taxes. In New York, it's like $105,000. That's objectively a lot of money, except when you owe $300,000. Right. I could have ignored my student loans. I mean, that would have been dumb and it would have continued to grow. But listen. Okay. All right. Look, so we've made it through everything. Okay, so we'll end on this one. Hollywood weirdos are gross. Okay. They are extending the usernames always make me laugh.
You're like, oh.
It's such a specific thing. They are extending student loan payments. Oh, non-interest, yes. Do you think that maybe it'll get forgiven? I know you said before, but they keep extending it. So JoJo, I don't have positive views of JoJo, which I said already. I asked for Bernie, and that's not what I got. So JoJo said that he was not under any circumstances, and then he did because he flim-flams. And he has extended the pause on student loan payments if you have federal loans, only federal, which I very much feel for people that I have a friend that did this, that refinanced their student loans for a lower student interest rate before the pandemic, because who could foresee that? And now they don't qualify, so they've had to make all these payments with interest. I think that's like very much unfair. So if you have federal loans, May 1st is when they start again. You have to pay them, and then the interest will kick in. The 0% interest, I did the math the other day. I'll do the math again. I think mine were at 30, let's say 35. It's either $35 or $36 a day in interest. My interest was accruing. So let's say $35 times 365. That's 12,000. Okay. Times 2. That's $25,550 I've saved in interest from not having interest, from having it at 0%. So it has saved me personally a lot of money. It has likely saved you a lot of money if you have federal loans. So I am glad for that. However, it is a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
It is a Band-Aid. A real fix would be, yes, forgiving the 10 grand that he promised, but also fixing the education system. Why is the cost of education so high? It is unnecessary. You sent me that article. Yeah. There are law school. My qualm with law school is that law school does not tell people an actual lawyer's salary, a majority of what lawyers are making. It tells you this fake inflated number that 5% of lawyers make. Yeah. 5% of lawyers that fit a very specific demographic that work in big law. And big law also is not a cakewalk. Big law is a miserable, miserable place. I've never met a person that said they're happy about it. I don't think it's possible. And law school can be helpful because being a lawyer should be helpful. It teaches you helpful skills. Like, I'm leaving the law, but I have learned helpful skills. I will admit that. There are a lot of graduate programs now that don't teach people anything that much helpful. That also costs 6 figures. So people are graduating. Chelsea sent me this article. I think it was film school specifically.
Yeah, it was mostly creative.
It was like
masters.
At NYU, Columbia, in the New York area. The New York areas, those schools charging people upwards of $100,000, so $150,000. They were graduating. Graduating from a film program doesn't mean you're able to do Vernet. It isn't magically like you have to create something. It doesn't give you access, which is the important thing. It doesn't all of a sudden get you put on projects. Right. It just teaches you, okay, I'm sure you learn lighting, cinematography, like how to do something. You could also learn those things on the YouTube. I'm just saying. So they wrote this very searing article, which I'll try to find, of the majority of the graduates of these programs are not getting jobs, but also the jobs they're getting, they're working in the grocery store. They're working at Starbucks. They're like, oh, I'm a starving artist, but I'm a starving artist with 6-figure loans.
Very underemployed.
What sense does that make? Yeah. What sense does that make?
Most masters, honestly, now are kind of like, do you need it?
The big thing in tech is big on like pushing people to get an MBA for them to make like 80 grand. So then you owe 6 figures of loans to not make 6 figures. And that's the problem. So no, I don't think Joe has any intention of keeping his promise, to be honest. That was a long-winded answer. But I think the real issue is like, who's going to fix the cost of education? Because the cost of education is skyrocketed. It's out of hand. Education shouldn't cost $60,000 a year. Why?
Right.
That's crazy.
It's objectively insane.
That's objectively insane. It should never cost that much money. Like, that's the issue. The issue is not, the cost of education has risen higher than inflation, has risen higher than like the housing market, has risen higher than anything else. Just, we realize we can make money off of people? Okay, great. But then also with the rising cost of education, you have, if you don't have a college degree, particularly as a racialized person, you're highly unlikely to make any money to actually survive. Yeah. So you have to go, and it's like, okay, well.
Or you have to do like serious physical labor, like being a contractor or something like.
Exactly.
That's like.
There are always outliers.
Intensive. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I've said this a million times. My dad is a truck driver. Truck driver is a working class job that make middle to upper middle class money.
Right.
So. There's that. So I highly recommend we push them to lower the cost of education and forgive the damn loans. At least forgive the interest, because the Senate sets the interest rate. So the Senate set my interest rate at 7.3%, which is double the amount to buy a house. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Okay, so there's that. And to Giselle's point, no way we are forgiving. It's not happening. I just don't believe it. If it happens, we can come back and say, like, Stephanie, you're wrong. I'll be so happy. I'll be happily wrong. But I don't think they care about any of us.
No. They make too much money off.
They make too much money. Remember, again, I'm paying $75,000 in interest. That's money I didn't borrow. They're making a profit off of me. They are buying.
And you're one.
I'm one person.
Just one person.
They are buying a G-Wagon. I think that's how much that costs. They are buying a rent, not even Bentley. They are buying a Bentley, running around, eating expensive grapes with my student loan interest. So that's that. Not to end it on a sad note. But yes, I highly recommend we push them to lower the cost of education because it's unnecessary. Everyone should be entitled to education in this country. Everybody should be doing it. Everybody should be allowed, if they want to get education. So yeah. All right. On that note, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for all of this. Happy New Year to you. I hope your New Year can find some respite. Are you about to pop up in here? Oh, okay. I was going to go pop up at the end. You can find some calmness, because I think the craziness is just about to continue, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We should have ended this with the Omarion dance.
Oh my God.
Not us doing it, because that's also not my ministry, but a video. A video. So I appreciate y'all, and I will talk to y'all next week. And we'll do next week, we'll do an insurrection video, because I refuse to let them let it go. 1 year later, 1 year after the insurrection and 2 years after the Black Squares. Where are we now?
The Black Squares.
F those Black Squares.
Summer 2020 was a dark time, man. It was a blur. It's a blur now.
I'm glad it's gone, because that's a lot. It's all been a lot. So
it was such a dark time, ironically.
Cheers to y'all. Cheers to us surviving the year.
Cheers, guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Oh, I was like, you have wine?
No, I got water.
It's water. Cheers to
barely
you, Charles.
Here, but you know.
I appreciate y'all. Good night or good morning. Bye.